All right. Hello, friends. Happy 420. Happy Taurus season. All of that good stuff. It's been a hot minute since I've done an astrology show, but my computer has started to act up on me. So I'm just going to see if I can... I hate this thing. I don't know what the heck is going on. I think it's the drivers, but I don't know. Like, I already reset it and stuff, so. Let's here. Get help. Well, regardless, I'll still do. They're saying the network. I wonder if it's because there's interference, but let's see here. All right, I'm going to restart that adapter. Okay, hello everybody. Happy 420. Happy Taurus season. Happy Easter. I'm your host for this show. We are going to be going over the chart of the everlasting now. So I'm just going to... okay, so let's see. Oh, now it's connected. Awful. I've been having some Wi-Fi driver issues on my PC, so I'm gonna just pull this up here. So we're gonna set all the planets for what's going on right now, and then we're gonna do a little bit of a card reading just to celebrate Taurus season, because I'm a Taurus, so I'm a little biased, but it also comes with it this idea of springtime, all that kind of good stuff. So, oh, thank you, the conscious listener. I decided to do Mary Jane today because it is 420, and it's like some love for Miss Mary Jane and the double entendre of things, right? So, I've been doing also a lot of work legal-wise because I'm trying to get my own radio station up, and I don't want to follow all the rules of the government. So, I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm going to be a pirate radio station, but I want to be smart about it. Oh, hey Zachary, how are you? I hope you're well, and thank you for the heart me. Okay, let's set all the planets today, and then if you want to do a reading with me, just email me. I've been trying to like work with like different calendars and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, listen, if you want to get a reading, I do astrological 1-hour readings as well as card readings, so, and divination stuff, and any kind of questions you kind of have. So it's taken me a little while to kind of interpret my own psychic abilities, I guess. Hey, Voice of One, happy Easter, my cosmic brother from another universe. I do feel like we're Cable and Rachel Summers in another world. I've had some really trippy things happen in the last few days as well, so maybe we'll share some of those stories, maybe not on this live, but maybe a little later. So my Discord server, oh, hello, King Mino. Hello. And just to let you guys know, Mary Jane I love Mary Jane. There's something to be said about being able to be a girlfriend to a superhero, right? I think even though this is DC, in DC, one of the Flash comic books, it talks about how to be a girlfriend to the speedsters like Wally West or Barry or any of that, you have to have nerves of steel. You need to be a woman who can handle that kind of thing, right? And so I think been working on that, because my hubby, I look at him as a hero in my eyes, and you know, to be a wife to someone that powerful, you do have to, like, it's a great honor. I think a lot of women have I have fallen into this trap as well. This idea of like, I'm a feminist and I don't need no man and all this kind of stuff, right? And the thing is, I love men. I love boys. I've always and so I think it's not such a bad thing for women to be aware of the fact that like we love men, right? And just to be honest about that, and like you can't do everything on your own, and I don't want to. So, Zachary, I'm doing well today. Yeah, it's a great day, you guys. So we're going to do some Astro today. I haven't done Astro in a little while, but we're going to lay out all the planets, and then I'm going to do a quick card read for you guys, just because we are now in Taurus season, and my birthday, my solar return is actually on Thursday. So I'm turning 40 on Thursday. So these are like my last days in my 30s. So let's, without further ado, and look, it just dropped to DHCP server. I'm gonna actually look this up quickly. Oh wait, I can look it up on here. What is a let me see it. What is a DHCP server? It's okay, I'm just gonna have to move Discord onto maybe another laptop, because right now my Discord server, I've been trying to do everything on this one PC laptop. And I'm also aware of things like your IP address, and you're trying to be a renegade. I don't want to be tracked. I need to get like a VPN, all that kind of stuff. So, I am definitely not single. I'm Mary Jane too, right? Mary Jane and Peter Parker forever. But I have a lot of girlfriends who are single, and I think I'm somewhat of a matchmaker. Oh, thanks, 200KO. When I used to work in corporate, right, I was a manager, and even at the hospital, people always thought I was like the intern. I'm like, I'm not the intern. I'm the manager here. So I've relished being 40, turning 40, because I did used to lie about my age somewhat, or like evade it, because I had a lot of friends who were younger than me. Most of my friends, I'd say they're in, okay, I shouldn't, like, I'm older now, but I used to have most of my friends are, actually, I still do that, my early 20s. They're in their early 20s, or, and I like being a big sister too, right? That's always been something that, oh, Dandy Money Man, thank you. Lots of love. Oh my gosh. So, it's different. Do I have kids? Not yet. Not yet. That is coming soon. I've realized for me to have kids, I have to change the whole world. My rings are on the wrong. Am I flipped? Hold on a second. Let's mirror it. Not mirror it. Mirror it. There. We're good. Okay. So, thanks, Jason. Okay. So today is 420. And if you guys aren't familiar with 420, it's like all has to do with Miss Mary Jane, aka cannabis, and I think it's just a matter of like nature and the double entendre of things, and speaking in code about things, and learning about meanings behind things. And so I will let me share with you guys. I'm anchoring in heavy light codes, and it's tough. Brave boy, been fast. We'll get into the Astro reading right now, but we're in full-blown ascension season, you guys. I don't know how to talk about this without sounding woo-woo or crazy or or any of that kind of stuff, but I will tell you this. There is this level of like what it means to ascend, right? Ascension. And when we're talking about stuff like spirituality, or these really like non-ordinary states of being, mystical, magical, psychic, all that kind of stuff. These are really loaded terms. Oh, you just found me on YouTube. Yay. Please have some mercy on some of my earlier videos. I look back at them sometimes and I cringe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what was I even talking about? So let me share with you guys a story, because I'm going to be turning 40 on Thursday. And it's taken me a really long time. Like, I hate calling myself a content creator, because I grew up with technology, right? So when I grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, I've told you guys this before. I was born in 1985, but my father was a professor at the University of Manitoba. You have a great day, Zachary. And so as a result, tech has always been something that has been second nature to me, in the sense of I had the internet really young, and so I was able to look up stuff on fandom, like even comic books and stuff when I was younger. If I didn't have access to certain comic books or certain stories, I could just look it up on the internet that I had at the time. So now that we have so much available to us, that includes astrology, that includes like numerology, all these different things, it's almost like an overwhelming amount of information. And so when you're talking about the downloads that you received, let's call that. Pin a note for viewers to contact me. Ooh, good point. I'm going to do that. Pin messages me. You can send me a direct. Maybe just pin that. I'll just pin a direct message. Okay, so if you send me a DM, I've been working on an RPG game. Voice of One, who's in the chat, has volunteered to dungeon master for it. So I've been working on some maps as well as the parameters behind the game that I'm making, and that is also related to astrology and the character that you're playing in the game of life, right? So the biggest thing I have realized about learning about astrology, or like even if we look at the calendar, the moon cycles, all of this stuff, it only has meaning as it pertains to you, right? So how should I put this? If something resonates, then that's something for you, right? As opposed to something like that doesn't quite feel right, but if that person is interpreting it, let's say for a particular sign, let's say there's like someone doing horoscopes and they're like saying, oh, for Tauruses, you're going to be this, this, and that, right? I don't look at astrology as fatalistic like that. It's more about confirming anything that is happening right now. Okay, so, okay. I figured out what's going on with my computer. It's the DHCP. So I'm going to look at that later. But for now, let's just do the chart. Oh my gosh, I'm dropping everything. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I have all my planets not lined up where they should be, but we will place them now. So if you're not familiar with astrology, I am not here to convince you to believe in anything. I consider astrology as an art of observation and interpretation. Like no different than you can have three people watch the same movie and you're all going to take away different themes and takeaways from that movie, right? It doesn't mean each of your perspectives is wrong by any means. It just means that there are different lenses by which you're looking at the same template or the same presentation, right? So astrology is essentially like looking up at the sky and being like, aha, there's these luminaries. Our ancestors have looked up to the cosmos for guidance for many, many years. And so this is just taking all of that intel and being like, okay, based on where I am in time space, these are the messages for me. And it just gives some guidance along, your personal journey, your soul discovery, your journey in this life, what you're meant to do here, why you were born here. All these are like very like destiny, right? You were destined to do something wonderful here on this planet. Trust me. And what that is a beautiful mystery, right? And you get to uncover that through knowing yourself. And astrology is just one of many, many ways you can know yourself. I just vibe with it a lot. I like the language. I look at each of these things as languages, right? Like even if you think of like the periodic table in chemistry, that's a universal code. Like if you say like krypton is actually an element on the periodic table, right? And so that atomic number, atomic weight, all of that, the electrons and protons, that is known throughout the world, right? That's a way of codifying it. And so same thing goes with like astrology, right? You basically have these different planets, these different luminaries, and where they're placed, that is all specific to you. There are infinite ways in which you can have configurations of the planets and aspects. So to know yourself and then to thine own self be true is not as easy as I would like it to be, but hopefully you get some insight into today by us doing a little marking point into the chart of the everlasting now, and we can get some intel. Okay, so sun sign is in Taurus. So let me first line this up. I hope this is, oh good. I'm glad that I'm not mirroring it anymore because it actually is true to the way it is astrologically. So you typically will start, let me put it this more there, that way. I like to look at the chart as kind of like a stage, right? So anyone, like we start the chart, the zodiac starts with Aries, right? I am here, I am, your first breath, your first scream, I'm here. And then we basically travel down. So we're the way it's counterclockwise, how you're going through the chart. And I like to think of this front part as front stage, and where Libra and Aries split the chart. If you were to do lighting, because I took drama in high school, and one of the things is you light the stage, right? So if you have an actor coming out from backstage and you're coming out to the front, you would have to know where to light it, stage left, stage right, front. So I like to look at like the signs, the astrological signs, as almost being like indicators to the stage, the grand cosmic stage of life, right? So it makes sense if you think about the fact that like Cancer and Leo and Gemini are at the very front of the stage, because these are very personable planets. So as opposed to the backstage signs, such as Pisces, such as Sagittarius, where there's this more of intra-personal understanding, right? And voice of one, you probably know this from being a Pisces. It's a matter of like, sometimes it's like, where do I end and where do others begin? Because it all just seems like one, right? You're very tied to the universal mind, and where you are as a personal, like Aries doesn't really have that problem as much, but it's a matter of in yourself knowing what channels and what vibes best with you, right? And Wallace, thank you, Positivity Penguin. Let's get into the reading of the chart. So we've got, where did I just put the sun? Okay. So the sun is in Taurus. I'm not going to have this lined up exactly. I'm going to see if I can get the degrees right. So we're right in the beginning of Taurus. We're not even in a full degree. We're like right there, right in the beginning. I don't think it is any coincidence that 420 is also Taurus season time, because Taurus loves things like snacks and naps and comforts and all that juiciness of what it means to be in a material body. Like, we don't need to demonize it. It's just a matter of having balance with everything, right? Okay, so we also have the moon is a disseminating moon. Oh, it's a much later degree. We're having a new moon coming up. That's true. That's why. So the moon is in Capricorn, very practical moon. So we have an Earth, Sun, Earth, Moon right now. So double Earth going on. Where are you, Capricorn? So I'm going to put moon in Capricorn. It's moving pretty fast. Let me see how far it is. Yeah, it's going to probably come out of Capricorn very soon and then move into Aquarius. That's why it's also good to know about your birth time, because the moon moves every 2 hours. And so it's good to know that your moon sign dictates, or rather gives illumination into your inner child, your inner mother, your subconscious, the parts of you, like when your sun sign is kind of like your main personality. I think that your rising sign also gives some nuance to that as well, but your moon sign is kind of like that hidden side of yourself, the one that you only show to good friends. All right, so Aries is in Mercury. Sorry, Mercury is in Aries, rather. Where are you, Mercury? So Mercury is, of course, the one with the hat. And Mercury represents thought, communication, mental states, memory, the messenger of the gods, the connection between heaven and earth. Mercury and the moon work really well together. And in your own chart, where Mercury sits dictates how you communicate, right? So, example, Mercury in Aries. I was born with that. So Mercury in Aries can be very impetuous, right? You're going to say what you mean right away. You maybe don't think things through before you blurt them out. I've had to work on that, as well as it brings a childish quality to how you communicate. So I feel like the reason why, like teasing and these kinds of things, it comes with that little playfulness that Mercury can have in Aries. So we also have Venus is in Pisces. Venus likes being in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, actually. And the reason is that Pisces is so aware of others. A lot of compassion and empathy is in Pisces. I think that's why there can be substance abuse with Pisces, just because oftentimes, let's say you have like psychic abilities and you're constantly hearing things. Oftentimes we can do different methods by which to blunt that so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. So Mercury's in Pisces. I'll put that right here. We've got Mars is in Leo. That's very powerful. Got a fire, like Mars, that leader of Aries, or rules Aries in the sign of Leo. So there's this extra fire there to do things today, which is kind of nice. We also then have Jupiter. Where are you, Jupiter? Jupiter is in Gemini. It's been there for a little while, I think. So I'll put that there. Uranus is in Taurus. Put that there. So that would make, we have a Uranus-Sun conjunction. That might be something to look at. Saturn is in Pisces. And so that's interesting. It's with Venus. Saturn is also like the lord of time and karma, right? It's the boundaries that you need in order to get things done. And so Saturn does get a bad rap because it's like, chronos and time, but we would have no realm if there was no time, right? You'd have no story if there was no beginning and middle and end, right? We've got Neptune is in Aries. I do love you, Neptune. And in Aries, as I said, it gives a bit more direction and drive to getting your, to having action behind your dreams, right? It's one thing to be like, dreaming about something, I would really like that, right? And then another thing to have your dreams come true and enacting certain steps in order to have that come true. And then we've got, last but not least, Pluto is in Aquarius, which I have looked at personally as being an indicator of the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment, this idea of high technology, but us also to realize that technology is more than, a screen or like my cell phone. Technology are words. Technology is this body, right? There's a lot of technology, as far as the definition goes, I look at as being something that solves a problem, right? As opposed to it being like, tech is Tesla. Tech is my cell phone. No, tech is your ability to, I am trying to get from point A to point B and there's a river here. I'm going to build a bridge. That's the technology that is required to solve the problem of what you're trying to do. What we have right now, I feel like in our world is a lot of like certificates, or like I went to school and I got this degree in something, and that is a good thing to know. Like, it's a good thing to have education, but it's another thing to have practical, right? It's like when I was learning personal training, it was one thing to know all the exercises. It was quite another thing to do a practical and show what you've learned in action, right? And it's not like you stop learning. You keep learning as you go. And I think there's this level of like, I had to work on personally a level of arrogance, I think, in my own intelligence, let's say, because technology equals a solution. Yes, that's how I look at it. Because think about it. Define tech for me. Is tech a computer? Sure, it can be, but that doesn't define what technology is. Actually, let's look up the etymology. I can't even see my tech right now, the Wi-Fi, being kind of lame. And that's the thing too about when we think about Wi-Fi, it's frequencies. It's using radio frequencies. And the tech behind that, you wouldn't have had to know about it for it to exist, right? It's like dragons. Dragons, the name dragon, came after the being or the entity of dragons existing, right? But we basically kind of try to shoehorn certain aspects or essences into definitions so we can talk about it, right? It's so we can converse and have conversations about like, well, what do you mean by that? So technology, let's do etymology on technology. Because we use that a lot. And it's funny too, because when I used to work for Accenture, which was a big corporate consulting firm, they had Accenture Digital and they had Accenture Technology. So they differentiated between digital and technology. Interesting, right? So things like more hardware things like a railway or building a boat, that's all tech, right? I wouldn't consider that digital though. So it's something to kind of consider when you are framing or modeling what that all means. Okay, so of course you come from Greek. A lot of things come from Greek. So etymology of technology. A discourse or treatise on an art, or the arts. How funny that art is in the etymology of what tech is. Because writing is technology, right? When we learned how to write and create symbols and all that. So it comes from a Latinized form of Greek, technologia, a systematic treatment of an art, craft, or technique, originally referring to grammar. So I told you, grammar, all that kind of stuff. Oh, Sam Dog. Oh, thank you. What a dark read. I read that last night almost as like the darkness before the dawn of Easter, right? And this idea of the last Ronin and coming to age, coming into yourself, right? Because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the beauty about stories is that I have a lot of stuff in my chart. I hate endings. I've always been that kind of person where, you know, you're at like a really good party or you're having like such a good time with your friends. And I would always get this moment of like, wow, this is going to end one day and I'm going to be sad because this will be like maybe like, or I saw that meme where like one day that was the last time you were going to have a sleepover and you didn't know it. Or the last time you like saw a friend of yours and you just didn't know that was going to be the last time. And there's a level of nostalgia when it comes to that, right? How do I feel about reality? That's a big question, Simone. I feel really good about it lately because I've been doing a lot of learning when it comes to legal stuff because I am trying to start my own radio station, right? And I don't know if you guys know this, but to get licensing to be on the airwaves is quite, it's a scary process. They make it very, like, they're like, oh, you have to, like, get all these licenses from the FCC, do all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and so we rewatched this movie called, it's Pirate Radio with Philip Seymour Hoffman and about, like, being on a boat and broadcasting radio waves and how, like, each of the different DJs have their own show and their own music that they like playing. So I look at reality as similar to kind of that. Music is a beautiful model by which to perceive reality because think of it like a record. And all of us are like different songs on the same record. And depending on where that pin is, you're going to play that song. But just because that song isn't playing at that moment doesn't mean that the other songs don't exist, right? You're just on this track right now, but you can jump that track. So there's really nice ways of modeling or thinking about reality in music. Even comic books refer to like music and frequencies as calibration to different frequency bands, and you doing that is the way that you then perceive that reality. So like a radio station, we're like an antenna, and what we're receiving is based on how we're tuned, right? Chris rocks. I'm in Canada, but both Canada and the US have extremely stringent rules when it comes to getting on radio waves, right? The excuse is that they don't want your radio waves to go over any of like the emergency vehicle stuff, like for like fires or anything like that. But you would think that those emergency places would like build out technology so that it would be a priority, but I'm not going to get into the whole thing of that right now. I just wanted to look at etymology of technology because when we're talking about tech, we're talking about advanced technology. I am such an analog girl. I love this idea of like you can build something and have it work or draw something and it'll just appear, right? Where's my sketchbook? I want to show you some of my sketches a little later, but going back to tech, I just love how technology in its definition, or not rather its etymology, it's also talking about art. So that's interesting, right? To grammar. So techno, not to be confused with techno music, but maybe there's something in there as well. Spelled Tekhno, combining form of techne, which is art, skill, craft in work, method, system, and art. A system or method of making or doing. From pi, texna, right? Craft of weaving and fabricating. That's interesting. From suffixed form of root text to weave, also to fabricate. So that is cool, right? Because I took English literature and psychology in university, and I did a lot of studying on Shakespeare. Now, I believe Shakespeare is actually a cipher. I think that Shakespeare, the Bible, and many like poetic works where you have verses and stanzas and ways you can also codify it, right? Because when you're writing a poem, you have rhythm and meter, right? So like a haiku has certain syllables, and then there's rules behind how you do it, right? Now, if you even take Shakespeare, I remember this because like scene 3, act 3, right? That's how you're going to talk about a certain scene. And since I know Shakespeare and I know Romeo and Juliet, scene 3, act 3 is when Mercutio and Romeo, they get into an altercation with Tybalt, the king of cats. And there's this big thing. And he's like, a plague on both your houses. So that line has a numerical value associated with it because of the verse and the act and the line that it's in, right? So if you think about it that way, you can codify messages through Shakespeare, through the Bible, right? I'll give you a fun one from Halo. So Halo, right? Master Chief, he is John 1:17. If you look up the Bible verse of John 1:17, it is, I am the way, I am the light. So it's this way of also codifying in other works of art, other things. So Master Chief, of course, is like a savior figure in the world of Halo. And so there's this level of like John 1:17 being like, I am the way out, being the way. Mandalorian likes to use that word as like, this is the way, the path. And when I think about the way and the path, I also think of like the Matrix, how like Morpheus says to Neo, you know, it's one thing to know the path, it's another thing to walk it. And when I read technology and the etymology of it, it's so interesting how art is mentioned so many times, and also this idea of weaving or crafting. Because if we think of bringing this back to like the Astro chart reading, and we talk about Saturn, Saturn is like the lord of time, lord of karma. That's the masculine way of looking at it. The feminine view of time are the fates, right? The 3 fates. If you've read Macbeth, you know, those 3 witches where it's like, boil, boil, toil and trouble, whatever the heck they're saying in Macbeth. Lady Macbeth is kind of crazy. We've got too many Lady Macbeths in politics, I think, personally right now. Because it doesn't matter, man or woman or whoever you are, you're going to have your own demons, your own shadows to keep in check. It's not for anyone else to deal with but you. And that's why it is very important to know yourself, right? To check yourself, to hone your own skills, all that kind of stuff. You owe it to yourself to be able to do that. Let's see here. Nanotechnology, study and application of extremely small things. I have some fun, interesting stuff with Batgirl and nanotechnology and music, but I'm not going to bring up the more spicy conversations today. I wanted to do a chart reading, and then I wanted to do a quick card reading for you guys because I hadn't done that in a little while. And as I'm fighting with this Wi-Fi, I'm just going to just restart this. I think this also said to maybe try doing like shutting everything down, because freaking Windows updates, I tell you, and like it kills. How is that technology, right? I remember back in the day when I was first learning video editing, I used something called Final Cut Pro, and it was like a free thing. And now if you want to get video editing software, Adobe Premiere is freaking expensive. And not only that, you don't own it. You have a software license. So this idea of licensing, you will like not actually having something. Am I silly? Oh, Kiwi, hey! Okay, so let's go into card readings. Yay! So once again, happy Easter, happy 420, happy Taurus season, guys. And I'll say this about Taurus. Taurus loves to love. I love love. I love sweet things and juicy things and wonderful, beautiful things. I love to surround myself with beautiful things, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So whatever you find beautiful is beautiful to you. No one gets to tell me what. This is my universe, and so I welcome you guys to take sovereignty over your own universe, and also like have the courage to love what you love and do what you need to do here on this earth, right? Okay, so we're gonna go like my traditional deck. We're gonna do Shadowscapes reading. I'm gonna just do card pull, how many cards I feel like we should read today, and like whatever messages the universe has for us right now. Oh, thanks, cute. I'm playing Mary Jane, right? Because it's 420. So some love to Lady Cannabis, Miss MJ, as well as like any of the plant teachers that have like, you know, defend nature, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's MJ. Go get him, Tiger, right? And it always helps to have like someone in your corner who's always cheering you on, right? And what's it all for, right? It's, you know, at the end of the day, like, a lot of horrible things happen, but I would say that my biggest motivation for doing anything is for those that I love. You want to make the world a better place for people that you love. It's not just for me, right? And so I think Taurus asks of us where in our relationships that we can step up, where we can find rest, and also your relationship with yourself and your past iterations of selves, as well as like your future self. Hey, Keaton, as well. Okay, so we're going to do a card reading. Happy you guys are here. We're going to do, I'm just going to use the major arcana. And we're going to do, we'll do a 2-card read of messages from the universe considering this very potent time in the cosmos. We have the sun that is in just that first degree of Taurus. My birthday's on Thursday, as well as, oh, thanks, James. And also, like, you guys, my star family, my superhero friends, my kings and queens of the kingdom of earth. I welcome all of you guys to take a handle of your life and realize that this place is far more magical than the powers that aren't will have us believe, right? It just takes a little courage, a little spice, and you know what? It can be a lot more fun, you know, if we can just work through some of the more discomfort, you know, the discomfort of what happens when it takes change. Oh, James. Oh, and thank you for joining the team, guys. We do have a few subscribers only events coming up, so definitely do stay tuned to all of my stuff. Okay, so Shadowscapes reading. It's a tarot deck, but it's a tarot deck that has a lot more fairy tale aspects to it. And I think of reading cards as similar to reading comic books, right? You're reading it like each panel, and each time you look at that panel, each time you look at that image, it's going to have different messages encoded in there for you. And so you can divinate with many things, right? Anything from comic books to the movie you decide to watch, or like a song that comes on the radio, right? All these kinds of things are ways. What's that card showing? Well, this is just, we're going to do major arcana. So if you're not familiar with tarot, I have a more, traditional tarot deck, but I like Shadowscapes just because the images are much more whimsical, right? I love fairies and mermaids and unicorns and dragons, so it uses more of that imagery and less of the red or white deck, which is much more like traditional. But the meanings in each of the cards are still going to be similar, but that's why, you know, you are you, and you're going to perceive reality in a way that's rendered out specific to you and based on like what you're meant to do here, and also what you're ready to receive, I think is part of that as well. So we're going to ask the cards, we're going to ask the universe, we're going to ask the cosmos, we're going to ask Mother Earth and all of the entities and essences that love us unconditionally, what messages that you have for us today. You know, like how can we best celebrate 420, Easter, as well as this foray into Taurus season. Ooh, the moon. So I told you guys the moon is in Capricorn today, and the moon in this card, you can kind of see how there's like a mask and all the little mushies down there as well. So the moon in all of your charts, you're going to have a sun sign. So please do drop in the chat if you want to, if you feel like it, to drop your sun sign. So I'm a Taurus, but my moon sign is in Gemini. And it's important to note how your moon and sun play with each other, right? So Gemini and Taurus, they're very different signs. So in me, my emotional state is actually much more like flighty. I can turn on a dime almost. Like I'll love something, or like I'll have a favorite food or something and I'll eat it forever for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. And then like one day I'll wake up and be like, I'm sick of it. So I've had to check my moon in Gemini, right? There's also the mask there you can see. There's this level of the different roles, right? Different roles that we play, and also within ourselves, right? So certain dreams, I'll say this, like some dreams you're astral traveling, some dreams you're teleporting, some dreams you're shared dreams, and other dreams you're working everything out on a very personal level. And so in many of those dreams, you are all the characters in your dreams. It's your stage, and you're casting people, characters in that dream. And so in that moon world, it's important to note too that things can change very quickly, just like in like psychedelic journeys or dream states. It's almost like you'll just appear in it. You'll like spawn there, like, oh, and then things will just change. So it's important to note that the speed of thought, also your emotions and your memories and wielding that. So this is coming up, and we're going to get another card to just clarify it as well. Ooh, the Magician. I love it. Okay, so we'll keep that for the read for today. So we've got the moon sign. So this is saying, listen to your subconscious. Listen to the parts of you that you hide. Your inner child is also represented by the moon child. Also your inner understanding of what a mother is, right? So it's a level of, I think the reason why this card came up, it's like a, hey, remember when you were like a little kid? Remember when you were 7 and you said by the time you were 40 you were going to do this? It's that. It's like a little bit of a reminder of your inner child self, as well as your subconscious, all the parts of you that you maybe hide away. It's a lot of that kind of bubbling to the surface. Maybe it's safe to do that because we have the Magician here to clarify it. The Magician is the second card in the deck following the Fool, and it's about transmutation and creation, right? And so this idea of everything from the subconscious, sometimes we don't look there because it's painful, because it hurts. But the Magician asks us, and to quote the Magicians, that show, which is really good, I recommend you guys watch it, that magic comes from pain. And this idea that, you know, if we feel frustrated or upset or ragey, these are like feelings. Yeah, they're a brighter design. I like these a bit better than the traditional tarot card deck. And I open up to you guys, like if you're looking into divinating or getting your own decks, certain decks will call to you, right? Or resonate with you. And this deck, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I love this deck. So it's my first tarot deck, and it's not standard, right? But I love it just because I love the different ways in which they interpret what those base cards mean. And so the Magician is this idea of having your will be aligned with the will of the universe, right? And also being aware of like the multiple different possibilities and anchoring in a possibility that is providing value to you and your loved ones. And so I look at this reading as we have such a spicy, earthy material time right now, but to be aware of all that stuff in our life that is not quite so tangible, right? So this idea of being aware of all the different masks you wear, the different personas that you've put on, and maybe some of those personas no longer serve you anymore. And it's not a betrayal to yourself if you've outgrown a particular persona and you need to put her or him or whatever that persona is to bed for a bit, or say goodbye to it, or maybe like corporate Rachel. Corporate Rachel used to have a different voice too, like Dandy Money Man, like at KPMG when I used to work there. My hubby tells me, like, he's like, oh, the way you would answer calls, like I could just hear like corporate Rachel, like, hey guys, or no, that's more breathy and nice. But my corporate voice was like high pitched and kind of annoying. Hi guys, happy Friday. I'm Rachel. It was just, it was me, but also not me. And so I welcome you guys to look at, where you're not being true to yourself. And it can be for many reasons, and also to forgive yourself for that, right? Like we do what we have to do to survive in the matrix, right? So I've been in friend groups where I wasn't myself just so I wouldn't get picked on. And who can blame you for that, right? It's not always safe to be who you truly are. I totally get that. And so what I think the moon has shown me is that not everyone deserves all of you, right? You can protect yourself like a tree's concentric rings. You can just be aware of who deserves to be in your inner circle, your inner closest circle, and they can have you full stop, right? And it's a beautiful thing because when you show who you truly are, full stop, and you're able to be vulnerable in that, it gives others in that relationship permission to do the same. And in that, you can develop a really deep kind of intimacy if you just go through the fear of being like, I love you, right? I'll be the one to say it first kind of thing. So it does take courage to be aligned to your inner deepest self, but also just to be aware that it exists. Like you're multifaceted, and that's okay. They can all play, and just be aware that but maybe sometimes you can't be all of them at once. The magician gives us the power, right? It gives us that creative force, the technology, the artistic ability to bring all of these dreams of your inner child to form and existence. So that is how I'm reading the card pulls for today as Miss Mary Jane. So I just wanted to do a quick little readout. We'll be back on a little bit later. Not sure which character I'm playing. I wanted to do Sailor Moon at first because I wanted to talk about the moon and all that, but I'm kind of blowing up all the old ways I used to do things. I think that I've been in such a mode of doing things that has been like from working in corporate, and realize that like doing that in what I'm trying to do as my soul mission doesn't quite align. And what does that mean then, right? And Tik Tok, oh sure, yeah. Do you want to do the same deck? I'm going to use the Major Arcana if that's okay, just because they have a lot more meaning encoded in them, and typically if I use the whole deck, then I should use clarifiers. So Tik Tok, let's do. I'm gonna let me feel through it. I just got tingles on this one. Here you go. I hope you can use it. I love this card as well. This is the Strength card. It is the most benevolent card in the deck. And so thank you for asking that, because that, yeah, strength. Like, to be strong. Strength is not the same thing as power, right? Power is power, but to be able to be strong, right? And that's what I need to get to the world. 100% inner strength. And, oh, thanks, Dandy Money Man. It's taken a long time to hit this point. I guess 40 years for me to finally feel comfortable with myself, to have the inner strength, the inner courage to just be me. And I will tell you this, you guys, I have spent a long time in my life feeling like an imposter in my own life almost, right? This idea twice and told me how to get to the world. Oh, Tik Tok, that's very cool. Like maybe let's do some more divination sessions in a row. Very cool. Oh, Leonard, hey, I'm just ending this because we're gonna go sauna, and it's Easter, right? So it's a little bit of thanks, Tik Tok. Maybe we can do some collaboration, maybe, because I just got some tingles when you were saying something, and like it's not a coincidence that we pulled the Strength card, right? Yeah, saunas are great. I love saunas. Oh my gosh, so good. But saunas are not good for everyone. Just like cold plunges aren't good for everyone. Just like I hate running. My sister loves running and does marathons and stuff, right? So, and Leonard, I hope you're having a beautiful day. The card read that we got for everybody, just to recap, and thank you, Tik Tok, for adding a third card to our wonderful poll and message from the universe today, is first of all the moon, right? And I was going to do Sailor Moon today because your moon sign, like do me a favor, you guys, look up your moon sign and look up what phase of the moon you were born under. So I was born under a crescent moon, which I wear on my neck, right? I was born under a waxing crescent moon and in Gemini, right? And it's crazy how many of my friends also have a Gemini moon. So even though I have a girlfriend who's Pisces and she has a Gemini moon, we connect, even though I'm a Taurus. But so I welcome you guys to look at where your moon sign is. That's your homework. What phase and what sign your moon sign is in, and how that moon sign plays with your sun sign, right? And how they complement each other, maybe how they push and pull against each other in the versions of self that you are presenting to others and even to yourself, right? And then the magician gives us this ability to take that energy, all of that stuff that sits under the surface, and transmute it, transform it, alchemize it, and bring that to the surface. And the strength card is there to give you that extra oomph and courage. We do have the Mars and Leo right now. Kiwi, I will pull you a card and then we will wrap, because I could stay with you guys much longer. But yes, I have a lot of fun stuff coming up, and including we're probably going to do some traveling, so maybe we can meet all in person. Tik Tok, we all need strength right now. 100, oh my gosh, full body tingles with that. Oh yeah. Because I will tell you this, guys, I love superheroes, and when I had a psychedelic experience, one of my first DMT trips actually, I got a message from Nut, the Egyptian goddess of the sky, and she told me to kill all my idols. Because I used to do this thing when I used to compete in fitness and stuff, where I would idolize certain girls with their beautiful bodies and be like, oh, I want to be just like her. But there's a level of being inspired, but then also being you, right? So not to idolize others, but instead look at them for inspiration, as opposed to like worshiping externally. And I'm not saying worship yourself per se, but there's a level of giving almost that sacredness, that care, and that love to those who are important in your life as well, right? So Kiwi, let's do it. Ooh, the Hanged Man. That's a big one, Kiwi. I hope the Hanged Man is all about sacrificing yourself to yourself. So deep intel coming your way, right? And you may be in a process of metamorphosis. You know, this is a very butterfly coming out of cocoon moment. Thank you for that, Tik Tok. I take that also as like, when we're giving messages, right, to those that we love, you're speaking on, like, it's from you, your heart. And I appreciate you too, Tik Tok. Because anytime you're sharing your energy, your sacred attention, that is valuable, right? We do only have a limited time here on this planet Earth in this life, right? And so whom you choose to share that with, what you choose to spend that time with, a very precious resource, is important, right? And so Kiwi, thanks for this card read. I would say for you personally, it's like this idea of you and yourself transforming, and also being in this level of, I've pulled the Hangman before, and I've loved reading it as that idea of being aware that the universe is change, right? And as we change, we have to let go of the old to step into the new. And so it's this level of sacrificing your past self to be able to step. I'm just letting you know. Oh, thanks, Tik Tok. Humans evolved. Yes. And I do think that all of us, humanity, are brothers and sisters on the kingdom of Earth. There's this level of reconnection, right? Tik Tok, it's definitely hard to see ourselves in a favorable fashion. I have a lot of aspects in my chart, so this is something I do also in astrology readings, your different aspects of self. So I have something in my chart, you may have this as well. My Venus is square Neptune. Okay, so squares come with it tension. So in me, I had an eating disorder when I was, for a long time actually. On and off for a long time. Magic mushrooms helped me kick it finally, but eating disorders, disordered body dysmorphia, all of that is a common symptom of having Venus square Neptune. And I had that. It's because that square brings in it, like Neptune rules illusions and glamour magic, all that kind of stuff. Venus is love and your relationship with your body and others and yourself. So having the square there, it was hard for me to see myself clearly. Like, I literally always thought I was fat. constantly, even like I was getting up on stage, like that whole process of me doing fitness, like the negative self-talk, oh, I'm so happy I've worked beyond that, right? Because your body hears everything your mind says. Fun fact. So I welcome you guys in your head, like, be kinder to yourself, right? There's enough negative-ish out there, enough people, naysayers saying enough stuff. You owe it to yourself to say to yourself, you know, you look good today, Rachel. You look great. And like, that was like not bad. You can do it. Like, let's get it. Like, I love doing, like, I'm the biggest cheerleader in the gym. Like, if you ever train with me, I'm just like, 3 more. This is effing easy. You can do this all day. This is fucking, right? So even when I'm running and I'm dying and I'm tired, I'll just tell myself, like, you're not tired. You got this. You're a warrior. You're a superhero. You can do this. This is just like water under the bridge. You can, so, Colty, thank you. So, you guys, you are beautiful. And just to quote Tik Tok, you are enough. You are everything. And I will end this live with what I always leave you guys, my ending catchphrase, because that is the message I've gotten from the universe to let you guys know. Superpowers are coming online. What that's going to look like, yeah, I'm ending this live stream right now. I'll be back a little later. I gotta go to the sauna because, as I said, it's Easter, and I don't know when, I know, I'll be back later though, you guys, no worries. My spidey sense, they are tingling, they're off the charts right now. And I also love, like, the web, right? So spiders, just like dragons, depending on your perspective, can be bad or they can be good, right? And so I welcome in you, like, realize there's always a choice, right? Realize that you are everything that the universe needs you to be, right? And to quote Spider-Man in one of the Spider-Verse comic books I read, like, if not you, then who? Like, literally, only you're going to be able to know what that soul mission is, right? So, no pressure. Because it takes true courage to be exactly you in the game of life. So, please do play as exactly you. No one else is going to do it, right? And we, your brothers and sisters on this planet, need you, right? It's like an RPG game when you're on a quest and you come to the door and only one of you has the right lock-picking skills to be able to get past the door. If you were too busy training to be a berserker, then what the heck, right? When the moment comes, you will be ready, right? Because it's you. Just follow your heart, follow your intuition, trust yourself. Because the universe is counting on you, right? But no worries, I have your back, okay? And to quote MJ, go get 'em, tiger. All right, guys, until next time.